30. Are we good? Everybody ready to roll? All right.
Yes.
So this is the Planning Commission meeting of January 4th, 2024, 7:30 PM, and we're in room 133 of the Brookfield Town Hall. I think we've got most of our folks here today. Myself, Scott Dale, Michael Duval, Linda Taylor, John Mara, Courtney Knapp, all regular members are here. And we have one alternate who is here is Aga Stepniak. Hello. Okay. So we have more than a quorum here today. All right. We'll go on to approve number 2, which is the approval of minutes of previous meetings. We haven't had a chance to approve these because we just didn't have all the members present for each of these various meetings. I think we do today, though. So, in October, myself, Michael, John were the 3 that were present. So, for the October 5 minutes, please review, and if we feel it's good, please someone make a motion to accept those minutes.
Yes, I'll make the motion to accept the minutes of October meeting, 23.
October 5, okay.
I'll second.
Second, okay. All in favor, say aye.
All right?
Aye,
Do we
okay.
have 2 abstentions then?
Yeah.
Because of-
Yep.
Just want to go on the record.
Yep.
Okay, great. Then on to November 2nd minutes. And for that day, there was myself, Linda, John, Mark, who is not here. All others were absent for that day, so just the 3 of us can vote on that. All right.
I'll make a motion.
The motion to accept the minutes for November 2nd. I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
And then abstentions for the others. Okay.
Thanks, boys.
All right. Very good. Now to the more recent, which is December 7th. That was a more lengthy meeting. For that meeting, we had myself, Courtney, Mark, who is not here, Aga is here. We can have, I think we can have Aga vote for that, so Sue was present. Okay. Any discussion or anything you'd like to bring up on December 7th minutes? Anything we need to have updated, revised, or otherwise? And if not, could we have a motion to accept those?
Make a motion.
All right, okay. Is there a second?
Aye.
Okay. All approve, say aye.
Aye.
All right. So that would be myself, Courtney, and Aga. Okay? And all those abstain. Okay? I think we're covered there. Very good. Now we're going to move on to the old business. So the last meeting in December 7th, we had a open hearing regarding the matter of 60 Wisconneer Road, PL-23-4. We closed the public hearing, so now they're at the point to discuss this and see what action we want to take going forward. Okay? Are there any questions or discussion? Because I do have a couple points that I can bring up related to this before we go forward.
I just had one question about the, at the end, the subdivision with the 3 houses on this side. Looking at the blueprint of it there, or the drawing here.
Yeah.
I know at the end of their driveway, they should have a big area to be able to turn around for emergency vehicles and everything like that. I don't see that on the drawing here, right? Don't they have to have a, if it's subdivision, you got 3 houses on, off of the main drive, right?
Yeah.
And they have to have a spot where they can turn around. I'm not seeing that on the copy I got here, unless I just can't see it right.
You have that handy? Okay.
houses, here's the houses over here, here. the other side. That's the only thing I'm questioning,
Mhm.
is there enough of a room?
Right.
Here's the last house here.
Yeah.
I thought they would have like a little small roundabout or like, you know, a little turnaround spot.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Is that, I don't think that came up at any point during our discussion last week.
This isn't the final drawing though, right?
Yeah, we have these here.
That one is. It's hard to tell from the drawing.
Yeah, because I think there's three separate,
Right, but
So this is
So
the
we're
condo,
coming
so
up.
the chair's the
Right,
driveway.
yeah, right, exactly.
there should be like
Um,
a little roundabout or
Driveway and
keyway,
utility
so
easement, right,
a
coming in.
fire truck and emergency vehicles
Goes up.
needs to be able to turn around.
Looks like it
This
goes,
is the-
right, exactly.
Well, that's what I'm saying, there's nothing here, this is from all,
relevant to something
This
else.
is
so
the
we're not
Turn
doing that.
around.
the condos are, and you come off over here, and you have the houses here.
Are you up to speed on this?
That's the only thing I noticed,
Yeah.
I see this is the area though in the back, but
Yeah.
the roadway's right here. And I was just questioning, is there enough room for an emergency vehicle to, they have to be able to turn around.
I don't know offhand, is there a part of the regs that addresses that directly and what's required?
It's part of the subdivision regulations.
is,
Yeah.
that I know,
When
yeah.
you're using a,
Mhm.
I can't tell from the driving, from the drawing, if there's enough room for something to
Mhm.
actually be able to turn around there.
Okay. All right,
So the end of
I'll
it,
add that.
so
here.
it's got the easement for the driveway, right?
Mhm.
Comes to the end.
Yep.
And like I said, I was just looking through the regulations for the easements, and it said there should be,
It did,
there
okay,
has to be an area where
okay,
an emergency vehicle can turn around.
yeah,
And I don't know if I can see that here.
okay. So, is there any,
Can you-
that's a good
can you
point.
reference it?
Right.
You know what I'm talking
There's-
about? This is,
Exactly, there's like no,
you know, there has to be like, you know, like a little roundabout or.
Mhm. So is, I'm gonna make note of that, let me come back to that, okay? Is there anything else that we wanna bring up on this? Because if, I have some points that I can raise, for
Well-
this.
Linda, have you come across that before, and you get a little easement like that, now it's at the end, doesn't there have to
one.
be
Yeah,
a,
there has
Yeah.
to be one.
like a
Yeah.
little roundabout
Yeah,
or a
we've
turnaround
been
at
through
the
that where
end?
we couldn't approve a subdivision because they didn't have that.
I can't see, I can't tell how much area is here, but it doesn't look like
Mhm.
there's a little like,
Yeah.
so I thought about this and I don't know if this is like appropriate, but, you know, there's a lot of wetlands in this area, and I feel that if they gonna put like 3 houses, they gonna there's like a natural way the water flows, and I feel like by developing this area, it's gonna, it's really gonna mess up the way.
it's gonna add to the wetland.
It's, right, it's gonna make, where's the water gonna go? Like if we have excessive rains and, you know, a lot, like where are they gonna put all the snow that's gonna fall in the winter time? I feel like it's just gonna, this is just,
Yeah.
You're right, there's a
It-
lot of area behind it there where all the
The
wetlands
one
are.
thing I would say to that is that I believe it went to wetlands before it came to us.
right.
So they had an opportunity to address that.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point to bring up, but I think that was already addressed by
Okay.
wetlands, yeah. Is there anything else, though? We should bring anything else up that we have on our minds on this.
well, the quality of life with all the mosquitoes is just gonna do nothing.
Okay. Okay.
But, you know,
So, you know, if, I think you were here, but some of the others, we did have a public hearing. The public did speak. There was, they did submit, it was part of the record, some concerns that they had. There was actually a letter that was read into the record of it. I have some things that we could consider here, all right? So these would be, if we just choose to do so, we could approve this with the following stipulations, okay? We can say, I'll list them, and then we can probably talk each one over through, okay? All right, yes,
Can you bring up a little point? And
Please.
Fran, maybe you're a little more familiar, but, do you have to give a waiver first before you can go to this next step? Are they asking for a waiver of one of your regulations?
Yes.
Did I hear that
Yes.
correctly? Does that
Mhm.
have to be done first before you can look at the subdivision as a whole and render any, like, stipulations for approval or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Does that particular piece have to be out of the way before everything else can proceed?
I think we're looking at it as a whole, but
Yeah.
you're saying there's a step? Yeah.
I know when we had met, it was gonna be as a whole,
Yeah.
because that's part of the
Mhm.
approval, if the commission decides to.
Right.
approve.
And I think that we would only want to accept that waiver for this particular instance
Exactly.
if we have these stipulations. Without them,
Oh,
we
okay.
would not want to, well, at least what I'm proposing here, we would not want to accept it without these. And again, I'll just
Okay,
add
I'm just
an eighth
curious,
one that
yeah,
you
okay,
brought
I
up,
just-
Michael. So there's now 8 of these, all right? So I'll read them and then we can go through them, all right? All right. So the first so this would be, if we decide to approve this, these would be the following stipulations. Number 1 would be a waiver granted to 234-204B2 of the subdivision regulations allowing for service to over 3 houses. That's addressing the driveway, so the driveway is certainly,
easement.
currently, yeah, exactly, right, okay. Number 2, a bond would be posted for Penn's monuments and erosion controls in the amount of $32,995. That was part of what was already listed in the document. Number 3, landscaped screening to be installed on Lot 1 at the bend of the common driveway. We did hear from the neighbors who had concern about headlights going into their property and such to provide them some protection. So that's, hopefully would address that concern there. Number 4, stop sign to be installed on the 3-lot subdivision common driveway prior to the intersection with Cedar Brook Common driveway. So what you would have is the new housing would be merging into the driveway with the existing Cedar Brook. There would be a stop sign there, which was another point that was brought up during the open hearing last time we met. Number 5, the applicant would deed designated open space to the town of Brookfield in a manner consistent with subdivision regulation 234-402A.2. That was brought up during the hearing, and it's really this northwest corner of the wetlands that they have designated that they would follow this process in order to deed to Brookfield. And it's adjacent to town property that we own off of Pocono Hill Road. Okay. Number 6, the applicant will provide required subfilings per section 234-308 of subdivision regulations and must be done within 90 days of approval. That's more procedural. And then number 7, driveway maintenance agreements must be approved by town attorney, signed and recorded on land records. That's within our regs, actually. So that's making sure that they have an agreement regarding the driveway. So that's 7, and then I've added number 8, the one that Michael brought up, which is having a turnaround at the end of the driveway for emergency vehicles per our regulations.
Right.
Okay, they would have to meet those. So we can go over each one of them, or does anybody have anything they want to bring up regarding any specific?
So the area that's gonna be deeded, to the town of Brookfield.
Yep.
Again, with the excess water, let's say if there is flooding, is town of Brookfield going to be liable for any damage to the properties? Because now the wetlands are gonna be part of town of Brookfield. How does that work?
That property there is technically, I don't know if you've ever been down there. Where I live, basically abuts to there. I do a lot of walking back in those woods. It's technically actually downhill from that property anyway.
Towards Fox Lane,
So,
right?
if anything, you have to worry about what's going on the backside as you get down Wisconir Road more, or, right, West Wisconir, by the,
School?
middle school.
Yeah.
The houses that are
In the back?
adjacent across from them. If, I don't know if we would assume any liability from that aspect of it as a town, because it would then be our property. But we wouldn't do any damage, there would be no damage from the water to theirs on, outside of natural flooding and whatnot.
Okay,
It's a property kind of slopes away from the house, goes
okay.
down.
So the water would flow to your,
Well, we're next to it, so we're up higher, and where that property is that they're giving Brookfield is actually downhill.
oh, okay.
I'm not
Little
aware
road
that,
basin.
is that an issue now? Because, I mean, obviously, that there's people that own this property right now. Or is there any contention going on between any of those parties? I'm not aware of anything like that, and I don't think that was brought up.
I haven't heard anything, right?
No.
Yeah.
That's just an open, that's just open
Space.
space there, there's really nothing built there.
No.
And it's a ways back, was it Fox Lane that's behind there, or whatever,
Yeah,
the roads that are west of that,
west of, yeah,
so
there's no current violations or anything out there now.
they would have been probably the first people to have problems because it slopes to
When
it,
it
right?
slopes, correct, downhill.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or, on any of which I've brought up? There's 8 points there. I think it touches on, most of the areas of concern that were brought up during the hearing, one way or the other. Pros, cons, otherwise, questions?
Question about the stop sign, does the DOT have to do that, or how does that,
I don't think so.
That'll be up to the property owners for the association.
I mean, the town can't put in a stop sign,
No,
right?
no, on private property, no,
Right.
that's how we do it.
You have a question?
The waiver of regulations, regulation. It says, the commission may waive any requirement under these regulations by a 3/4 vote of all members of the commission, which I'm assuming is regular members.
We have all 5 here, yeah.
My experience, 30 years in office. Seriously, or maybe a policy was that unless you attended the public hearing, you were not able to vote.
Correct, absolutely.
So that reduces you down to
3.
the, right, because would that mean Aga cannot vote because she's an alternate who was present at the public hearing? I'm just asking this because I just
No.
always worry that there's gonna be a red flag, you guys
Well,
work so hard on this.
Courtney, myself, and Michael.
Correct, okay.
Yeah.
So that, just on that particular
Yeah.
piece of it, you would vote, and then everybody, yeah, no,
Unless-
they'd have to
unless-
vote on the whole thing, yeah.
Unless everyone else had watched the video of the
Or
previous
listen to the tapes,
and
exactly.
acknowledges that they watched the
Yeah.
tape.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Yes.
yep, okay, just putting it out, there, just so I
Mhm.
didn't
No,
want
that's-
anything to
no,
come
thank
back
you.
and bite you and say,
Yeah.
you
Mhm.
didn't follow X, Y, Z.
Yep. No, thank you. So, any thoughts, therefore, on how to step forward or proceed on this? We have 8 points here that we could consider. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve this with those 8 stipulations, or something else?
Well, maybe before I do that, I mean, I think that this is a good comprehensive list. It seems like it is addressing most of the concerns. The stop sign, I guess I'm assuming, is one way to kind of mitigate some of the the fear around like the kids at the
Right.
school stop there. And so, I mean, I think that I heard in that audience, like, vying for more than that, but I think just given, the context of the site, that's probably the most we could do, and that could calm the traffic a little bit, hopefully, and make it feel a little bit safer for people who are bringing their kids down there. So, I mean, this seems pretty good to me, just having been at the session and hearing what people were saying. For me, I feel like the deeded open space piece of it is so critical. I really feel like that's such a potential benefit, and so I feel like pretty confident with this list, but I'd be curious to see if anyone had any other thoughts. If not, I'd be happy to make a motion.
Does anybody else want to discuss this any further, or should we proceed? Just to the point was raised before, does everybody feel that they're in a position to, who can vote on this? I just want to make sure we're clear on that again. So we have our 5 regular members, the 3 of us that did
Yeah, it was
attend. Aga was also in attendance. So you were saying that the 3 of us will vote on it, or
No, actually, the 4 of you can vote.
4 of us can?
4 could vote, yeah,
Right,
unless
but I
Johnny
did-
and Linda had watched the
Unless-
minutes of the meeting from the
Right.
previous, correct?
I
But they
did not.
don't have to vote separately on the waiver. That's
Not
my
to my
question.
knowledge.
That was my initial question, is I didn't know whether, because the waiver has such finite requirements of this 3/4 of regular members versus Auga could vote on the public hearing because she was here,
Mhm.
and so it's almost apples and pears here, you know what I mean? I
wouldn't hurt
just
to
do
do.
not want somebody to come back and
S-
It wouldn't hurt to do them then 2 times, then do 2 of them, right? Yeah.
That's what I thought, yeah.
So you're suggesting to vote on the waiver first, and then vote on the stipulation second?
Yes.
But then is it really a stipulation if it's not tied to the waiver?
No, I think it makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
because you're waiving the regulation, allowing them to, whatever the regulation had said from the last meeting, section 234-204B2, regulating a driveway serving more than 3 homes. I think that was where it was wiggly because of the condos and the new development. Once that's established, I believe then that opens up the allowance for you're not approving the stipulations, you're approving the application with the stipulations as part of your approval. In other words, you're approving it with all
these
of what you
conditions.
listed.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? So that's my experience. So I think you have to have the cart before the horse, because you cannot, I don't believe you would be able to approve it
Mm-hmm.
with that waiver as a stipulation unless you vote on that waiver separately. That's my understanding.
Okay, we can,
For
Just
you.
to tie it
For
nice,
you.
nicely. I've seen too many,
Nope.
legal
No,
things get
Yep.
Yeah.
spilled and, yeah.
I just want to make sure that it's not interpreted to be an acceptance of it without stipulations. That's my concern there, you know? Like, it's not a blank check, you know?
Now, the first vote would be
Mhm.
just the waiver on the driveway easement, right?
On the, let me just make sure where we were here. Because this was originally submitted. Yeah. This was originally submitted as just a, where is it? There we are.
So the waiver was mainly for?
For lot. Here we are.
Just if you read that opening paragraph, it's what he's asking the waiver
Oh,
on.
here we are. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah,
Just to
this, I'll
verify.
just read this out loud. So on behalf of the applicant, we are requesting a subdivision waiver in accordance with Brookfield subdivision regulation 234-805 and Connecticut statute 8-26 of the Brookfield subdivision regulation 234-204B2. And that is regarding a common driveway serving no more than 3 homes. So I think I think we can get away, we can do that, yes. So that's addressing the driveway and how, the regulation says you cannot have no more than 3 homes. This obviously already has Cedar Brook, so this would be in addition to that. So I think we can vote on that waiver for this particular case. Right, and then the application, right, I'm following now, the application with the stipulation, right? All right, thank you. Okay, I think we're on course now. So, would somebody like to make a motion to accept the request of the waiver as I just mentioned? In accordance with Brookfield subdivision 234-805 and Connecticut statute 8-26 of the Brookfield subdivision regulation 234-204 B2 regarding the common driveway. Would someone like to make that motion as I just stated, please? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Would someone like to second that, please?
I'll second it.
Okay. Yeah, who would like to, all ayes, please vote.
What do you want to vote? Aye?
Aye.
I'm voting on that.
I think, I believe so, right? You were here.
Yes, you were.
Yeah,
here.
you
John and I
are,
weren't
I
at.
abstain.
you guys are not voting on that,
Right.
right?
Okay, so this, okay,
So
so I.
it's unanimous 4-0, right, with
Mhm.
2 not voting. Correct? Not voting, okay. All right. Next. Okay, thank you. So next, we'd like to make a motion to approve the application PL-23-04, the Nori three lot subdivision with the following stipulations that I've mentioned, the 8. Do I need to repeat the 8 of them again?
Do you want to include the first one, since it's redundant, since you already approved the waiver? Do you want to just list 7 stipulations for the record?
Well, it's already been done, yeah. So we could have it would be 7 now. Do you want me to repeat those? Would it be helpful for anybody?
I might as well.
All right, for
Do
the
you
record.
want me to read them back, make sure I have?
If you'd
mine
like
has
to,
that?
sure.
No, you could, well, I'll take
Okay.
care of that at the end, but,
Yep.
that the applicant post a bond
Mhm.
for pins, monuments, and erosion controls in the amount of $32,995. That landscape screening is to be installed at Lot 1 at the bend at the common driveway.
Yes,
A stop sign be installed on the 3-lot subdivision,
common driveway,
common driveway prior to the intersection with Cedar Brook Common Driveway.
yes.
Is that correct? Okay. The applicant would deed the designated open space per section 234-402A2 to the town, parentheses, northwest corner of the wetlands as indicated on the plan.
Yeah, the way it's read here, applicant would deed designated open space to the town of Brookfield in a manner consistent with subdivision regulation 234-402A.2.
The applicant will submit filings per section 234308 of the subdivision regulations within 90 days of approval, filings of,
That's listed within the
right.
yeah,
Okay.
those regulations.
Driveway maintenance agreements have been approved, will be approved by the town attorney, signed and recorded on the land records, and that a turnaround at the end of the driveway be constructed for emergency vehicles per the planning commission regulations.
The subdivision regulations.
Subdivision
Right.
regulations.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay. Does anybody make that motion?
I'll make the motion to approve that.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second, sure.
Okay. We all voting for this? All 5
That's why I
regular
couldn't
members?
figure
Those
out
who are,
which way
those of you
to
who
say
are in a position, no, right? Same as prior, right?
Just the 4 of us were here.
So, the 4 of us again, so, all ayes?
Aye?
4 ayes, okay. Very good, okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for that. Put that through there. All right. Okay, I think we're ready to move on to the next, number 4, which is new business, and we have a referral 8-24, the Streetscape Phase 7. I think there's two key parts to this that we want to consider. There is the Streetscape Project Phase 7. And then there is the steep grant, which is tied into the construction of pickleball courts and supporting amenities outside the door here at Town Hall, 100 Pocono Road. Any thoughts, discussion on that? So they're looking for us to, if I follow this along correctly, they're asking for our consideration approval of these two pieces. I know that the pickleball court thing came up before, and I believe we had some discussion on that. We approved that. I think my only thought on the pickleball court is I like to see that the court be something that could be that easily converted into another use should pickleball no longer be popular 5 years from now. Throw a basketball court on it,
I don't know if it is,
or a volleyball court, or something,
that-
whatever's the fad at the time.
is
but-
that like the same size as a tennis court almost?
It is.
They always use tennis
Yeah,
courts.
or a
though,
tennis
right?
court,
Yeah.
yeah.
So if they make it the same size as a tennis court, it could always
Yeah.
be just
Yeah.
dual
That's what they do.
purpose, right?
That's what they do at Pecatigan, that's what they use up there.
Yeah, so that's my only thought there. Anybody else have any thoughts or concerns or issues they'd like to raise up related to this? Otherwise, we can move forward with a motion for approval, if that's how we feel.
$500,000 for a pickleball court?
I think that includes other things.
It's related, yeah,
That's,
amenities,
Got some other stuff, right?
Yeah.
That's not just the
We're
pickleball
gonna
court.
do
Supporting the amenities.
bathrooms and,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
Mhm.
like, there's a whole list of things.
that's not just the courts.
No, it's a
No.
handicap rating down to
No.
that and everything.
Yeah, the,
Okay.
I have a question, just a clarifying question for the streetscape phase. I should know this, but where exactly is this, are these improvements being focused? Or what streets are we talking about here? Maybe I read it too quickly, but I just don't see it here. What areas being,
Well, yeah, I don't know if
Yeah.
you're familiar with the whole, the streetscape and its history and what's been going on and.
a little bit, but
Yeah.
only, as an observer, not.
Yeah, so there's been obviously we're phase 7, there's been other phases prior to, I guess, the touches to, the, four corners and all that. Making the sidewalks nice, the lights, actually did look nice during the holidays, I have to say, Yeah, so this is the next step of all that.
Is it geographically focused in a particular
I
segment?
think this one is, yeah, I think there's a map in the,
Okay.
what they gave us, that helps to, I think I saw it, where it helps us to get an idea of where 7 is focusing
Okay.
on. It looks like that's more closer to, the highway, the southern end, closer to the highway intersection.
I gotcha.
It looks between Laurel Hill and then Old Route 7, that strip right there.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
On the western side.
Okay, I see, thank you.
Would we like to make a motion to approve this, or any other comments?
That's not connected to the Greenway, right?
That's the opposite side of
That's
the road.
on the other side of
But
the
it
street,
will,
though.
yeah, but it'll all
It
be
will
tied.
eventually, because
Yeah,
they wanted to go further north
Mhm.
with it,
yeah,
right?
yeah, there's a crosswalk, I think, gonna be installed too, according to the map, I think the plans.
Do we know if there's, if these improvements include any kind of like bicycle infrastructure or anything like that, if it's potentially connecting to the greenway, or if it's more sidewalk and those sorts of streetscape. I'm just curious.
It's more listed in this thing, isn't it?
No, I don't think there's bicycle lines.
I don't see anything for bicycles, but
Yeah.
I don't know if this is the final design yet, or this is just,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
cause I know there is a bike rack up in front of the, used to be, ponchos and windows.
I think eventually all of this will become part of that big project, where they're gonna extend the,
The greenway through there?
the greenway with the, bicycle,
Oh, with the New England Greenway, or? Mhm.
well, the greenway with the rest of the trail that goes through
Mhm.
Monroe and I think all
The
Extend it,
bicycles, the
I think
bicycle
they're-
route.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, okay, cool.
I think eventually down the
Yeah.
road.
I was just
Says over
curious,
here
you know,
that-
as a cyclist who's tried to ride around Brookfield a little bit and felt
Tough town
quite
for that.
terrified, yeah. It just feels like such an opportunity for making some of these other more active transportation improvements to think about that, but it sounds like that's kind of like maybe in the scope
Oh,
a
yeah.
little bit more
Mm.
formally,
Th-
but,
this is-
Yeah.
but,
Yeah, I always thought it'd be nice.
It does
if we-
say in the future, it looks like it's gonna be connected to.
Quick question.
Yeah.
This says here on the
bicycle
last page of the,
station, pedestrians.
Town Hall campus renovations, which I think was the second part
Mhm.
of what the selectmen were looking for. Where's the fact sheet? The last thing on the last page says, see fact sheet for more information. Because for what they're asking for there, 600,000 seems to be awfully steep.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, I don't know what fact sheet they're referring to. That's certainly not part of what we have here. So just, they're gonna have a town hall meeting on this, this Monday as well, so
Okay.
the public will have an opportunity to comment on
Okay.
this if they need to, or if they want to. I guess the question is, from a planning commission perspective, how do we feel about this and do we wanna approve it? Like I said, the only thing I can think of is I'd like to make sure that any pickleball courts can easily be used for other activities. Other than that, I don't have a particular concern.
I'd like to see the fact sheet before we make any vote on that aspect of it. I mean, to me, that number sounds a little wasteful. Almost $600,000. Yes, it's coming from a grant, but most of it's coming from a grant. But I feel we could maybe look into that a little more before we start just throwing money at, you know.
I think if you recall, this came up, remember they were gonna put the pickleball court up by, off of Long Meadow,
Williams
right?
Park.
Near Williams Park, remember
At
that?
Williams Park. right?
Yeah, yeah.
But they didn't have a dollar figure set to that at that point when we discussed it, or at least that I don't
I
recall.
think there was, I don't recall what it was off the top of my
But,
head.
I mean, I'm not saying that the other upgrades aren't
Mhm.
crucial, but I'd like to see the dollar amounts that they're spending on it. I mean, you're putting in basically 2 tennis courts and a ramp
Mhm.
which, I mean, not discounting the ramp, but I don't think it's as expensive as maybe they're trying to portray it as, and some minor bathroom upgrades.
Mhm.
$600,000, there should be showers, you know, and everything else in there.
Are they upgrading that, or are they
That's,
just building a whole?
that's what
new-
it said, minor upgrades to the bathroom, budget pending,
Whose bathrooms there?
limited by budget.
Yeah, they have bathrooms. supposed-
Now, the ADA compliance, which is what we'd have to do regardless, but 4 pickleball
Off the
courts,
monument, going further.
replacement steps currently in a 10-year capital plan. I'd like to see that capital plan also.
Well, this, I think that's a Board of Finance, that some of that would be,
Right, but this is
Yeah.
the project they're talking about. that
Right.
They gave us in the packet.
Mhm.
It's just that $589,000 is, like, we have other things in this town that could use some money besides
Instead of-
pickleball courts.
pickleball, yeah.
Eh.
I'm more a basketball guy, if you recall, yeah.
I'm a football guy, so like, you know, more seating at Cadigan would be very nice. But I would like to, before I'd be willing to give a vote on the steep grant portion of this, I would want to see the breakdown and how the money was going to be spent.
Okay,
The Phase 7 portion, I have no problem voting on that now. That's something that's been ongoing since they opened up Super 7.
Mhm.
So, I don't know if we can do a split vote type thing, or we could just,
how does everybody else feel on that?
Yeah, are we supposed to have a fact sheet here, or is?
I don't know, this, I didn't present this, I didn't put this together. I don't know if this is to the Board of Finance or put together by the Board of Finance.
Yeah, it's from the Board of Finance.
Okay.
Is there anything in the minutes?
We don't have we got Board of Selectmen meeting minutes. Actually, we do have the minutes, good point.
So the grant is up to $500,000, right? But you don't really know.
The approval for the expenditure of $589,000, of which $489,000 will be reimbursed by the steep grant.
Okay.
So, the net of that is obviously something much lower, 100,
20%.
yeah. So we haven't looked at the other minutes, but yeah, and thank you for bringing that up. Within the minutes that we have for the December 4 Board of Selectmen meeting, there is a piece that does touch on the steep grant for Town Hall, and it does explain some of the finances. It's not the fact sheet that you're looking for, but maybe that helps to answer some of the questions you have. Does everybody see it? It's on Board of Selectmen meeting minutes, the second page, second half of the second page, steep grant.
So then, well, then the taxpayers would be on the hook for 100,000, 100,000.
Right. Which,
20%.
mhm.
I would say.
So if I don't know if I can talk, but, I guess Park and Rec does have money in their budget to finance the taxpayer portion of this.
Right, they're going, yeah, they were going to the Board of Finance on that, yeah. Mhm. So John, does that, address any of your concerns you brought up?
It does not.
Okay.
I know we're not on the hook for the 489, but it's still $500,000 that we have a tendency to waste money in Brookfield. We don't hold our contractors to the fire, so to speak. Like, there was a lot of letdowns with the high school and stuff like that. So I want to see the breakdown of it first, and what type of contract are we looking at as far as holding those contractors liable for timeframes and stuff of that nature.
But is that something that we can do as a planning commission?
We can look at it to
Okay.
give our approval or not, you know.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're all Brookfield residents,
Sure.
you know, so
Mhm.
if we're trying to put forth the best for our town, I think we should have this information before we make any type of agreement, whether or not we approve it or not.
Okay. All right. So despite that we would be getting the 489,000 reimbursed, that doesn't alleviate the concerns that you have.
I'm sorry?
That doesn't alleviate the concerns that you have.
No, I'm looking at the total number, because
I
that
see.
489, we've already been approved for the steep grant for various things within our town, right?
So you're saying there's other priorities,
But I just want to make sure that we're not spending $500,000 on something that's $180,000.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I want to see the breakdown of it. I'm not saying that this shouldn't go forward, but is what we're paying for it a good value? You know what I'm saying? Because we could take and some of that money and appropriate somewhere else, even to some of our fields and whatnot that we have right here on this campus.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it needs to be looked into before we can say, yeah, we agree to give, you know.
Okay. So to go forward on this, we can make a motion. We can make a motion to approve it. We can make a motion to split it and approve, I guess, a piece of it and one piece of it, and maybe not another piece of it. Or actually, no, we have to approve. We have to put it forward as if we want to approve it and vote on it, right? But we can split it up if we wish to approve the piece pertaining to the, yeah, to the, yeah,
Phase 7.
Phase 7, and then the other piece that touches on the town hall and the pickle courts.
So what do you say, you want to
well,
table that one till,
I'd like-
to next meeting, or?
I think they want to move forward on here. That's the one other concern is the timing of it. There's going to be, well, and there's also going to be the public hearing for it as well. It takes place this coming Monday. Is there any, let's just get some discussion here. Do we have any other concerns about the Phase 7 piece of it? I'm not hearing that we do, right? Does anybody else want to speak on the steep grant piece of it with the pickleball courts?
Well, Phase 7 project,
Mhm.
I'm okay with voting
Okay.
on that. But, like the other project, like the pickleball courts, like, about what John is saying, he'd like to see the breakdown of what they're doing for that. That you want to see like like the actual project, with all the breakdowns a little bit, right?
Right.
'Cause it says, see the fact sheet. We don't have the fact sheet.
Well, that's,
So if
It
we,
says
yeah.
on the last page,
yeah,
look at the
and-
fact sheet.
And I don't think that's something we can gather at this point, right?
Maybe we can get.
That's not something we have readily
I don't have
available.
that now,
Yeah,
no.
okay,
Basically, you want a cost analysis of everything.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay. So what do we then, therefore, if we want, make a motion on the Phase 7 piece and then make a second motion on the steep grant piece? Is that what we want, the direction we want to go?
I make a motion to approve the streetscape project Phase 7.
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
All ayes?
Aye.
Aye?
Okay. No nays, no otherwise, okay. All right, second part, do we want to then make a motion, well, how do we want to phrase this in the proper? Do we want to just table that for now? Until we get further information related to the breakdown of the costs, is that?
Right, yeah, that fact.
We're not
sheet.
saying no, we're saying we want to get more
More
information, right?
information,
If I
that's all.
understand correctly, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do we want to then make a motion to, I guess, table the steep grant piece of it until we can gather further information regarding the breakdown of the costs? Okay. Does anybody want to make that motion?
That motion.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay. Ayes?
Okay.
Ayes?
Aye?
Yeah. Ayes? Yeah. Nays? Nays? Okay. Okay.
So that would be tabled. We get more information, just like the fact sheet.
All right.
See the fact sheet.
Where are we? Election of officers, okay. 5A. So, for those of you who were not here to the last meeting, there was the three regular members that were there. It was Michael, myself, and Courtney. I assigned myself and Michael to get together to talk about who should be on the slate for this, for officers for this coming year. John, I don't know if I spoke, and if anybody spoke to you, if you had any interest or otherwise.
I've not heard anything from anyone.
Okay, all right. So what we discussed, Michael and I together, discussed the slate of myself as chairperson, Michael as the vice chairperson, and I think Courtney as the secretary. Did you want to express any interest in anything?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, just want to make sure that you have an opportunity to speak. Okay, all right. Does anybody have any other suggestions, thoughts, or otherwise on that slate? Thoughts or concerns or other suggestions? No?
I'm good.
No?
Is, just a question, is there anywhere like a document that would list the roles and responsibilities? of
There is
the-
actually,
Okay,
yes.
just so that I know what I'm signing myself up for here.
And so that, yeah, it's in the
Okay.
bylaws
Okay.
and so it does, it's not too much to it, really,
It's fine,
honestly.
yeah, I just wanna make sure that I don't, nothing falls through the cracks.
Yeah, so, all right, so we have the slate of myself as chair, Michael as vice chair, Courtney as the secretary. The one thing I was gonna mention here related to this, so what we're kind of going along the process that was previously established when we had we had a regular chairperson. I've been the acting chairperson. This is now the 4th meeting for that, to have an act, and someone brought it up to me and said that that's a long time to have an acting chairperson, that's all. So, if we're following the rules of just the normal, voting up and down for officers, that's the normal process, that we determine we nominate who's gonna be, determining the slate in December. We do what we're doing right now in January, determining what that slate will be, and then we vote on it in February.
That's correct.
Okay? But this is technically a vacancy, and it has been since, unfortunately, John passed away in end of September. So what I'm gonna suggest, at least for a conversation, is that we can act to vote on this right now because it is a vacancy. Right? We do not have a chairperson at the moment. I am filling the role, if you will. So, does anybody have any feeling on that, or any thoughts on that, or otherwise? If we're okay with the slate, can we press forward and just vote on approving it now, rather than waiting another
I
month?
think we can do that.
Right? Because it is therefore technically a vacancy, which we didn't do, we didn't act on it. Please, I'd like to hear what you have to say.
I would listen to what Jean says.
Yeah.
So Courtney doesn't have to worry that she's gonna be asked to do anything really crazy. Do you mind if I read what the secretary responsibilities are from the
Yeah.
record?
In case you have second thoughts.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, they have all three things outlined here.
Yep.
For the record.
Mhm.
The secretary shall attend the meetings of the commission and shall record the minutes of such meetings.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that's,
So just
yeah.
so
Okay.
we can distinguish. The land use office staff shall provide for the notifications of commission, regular meetings, special meetings, public hearings, and the distribution of minutes to the Board of Selectmen, town clerk, and commission members within 7 days. In the event of the absence of the chairman and vice chairman, the secretary shall assume the duties of the
Okay.
chairman.
Gotcha.
So basically, it's just that
Yeah.
last sentence.
And if you have any questions, we have our secretary right
secretary,
here.
yeah.
And yours,
Oh,
oh yeah,
yeah.
of course, you
Yeah.
filled all roles at some point, I
Well,
believe.
2 out of 3.
Thank you
Yeah.
for that, that's helpful, yeah.
Okay,
Reading the legal notices of when there's a public
Right.
hearing,
Mhm.
and there's a site walk,
Right, taking notes on the site.
taking notes.
any thoughts or discussion on what I just mentioned, though, about us voting on it today to fill a vacancy? Is there any concern on that?
I mean, the vote is from the people at this table. correct?
Yes.
It's not open to the public.
No, it's
So-
only regular members.
I would make a motion to have our vote at this point in time
Mhm.
for the full slate and move forward from here.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all ayes?
Vote for it.
All right,
Aye?
ayes?
Aye.
Or that was a motion to do so, right? Now,
Yes.
we can vote, make a motion to accept the slate as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the slate as presented.
I'll second it.
Okay,
Okay.
all ayes?
You vote?
Aye.
Aye?
All right,
Congratulations.
thank you. I'll try to fill those very humongous shoes, yes.
Those are some big shoes to fill.
Yes,
He
and
knows.
I will never be close to it, but I'll try. Thank you. All right. On with the show. So, one of our favorites is the 5B, which is the status of the commissioner training courses completed. Has everybody done their homework?
Do we hand these in and we get graded, or what happened? Oh. We're just gonna-
Yeah, is green good? And I'm not sure what
I think
that,
so, yeah.
I'm not
Oh,
sure
yeah, I
if
guess
they
so.
have anything
Red's
like-
bad, that's
Think
why
they
I'm
do,
in red.
yeah.
Okay.
And does this mean everybody's done everything?
I
That'd
have
be great.
not, yeah.
Oh,
No,
no,
it
you're.
does not
you
mean
have.
that, no.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
think I was told I have an extra year since I'm new, but I'm not planning
Yes.
to take that year.
Mhm.
I'm mostly done with the fair and affordable housing, and but I think I need to find another email that has, because the email I was looking at most recently had the wetlands and the affordable housing, but the other ones they probably
Right, they
aren't
were
a
way back,
message
yeah.
from way back when. So I
Way
need to
back
find
when, you are
those,
correct.
yeah,
Okay.
for that.
But would you even have to do those, and that, because they have a new group from February? Would she have to do the old ones, since she just got elected? Wouldn't her term be now? I mean,
No,
some
it
of these,
starts in
Old
December.
trainings.
the old training.
Is there new training starting?
There is, I saw new training pop up today for February, there were
You might
3,
shoot Laura an email.
Okay.
yeah,
I will do
yeah,
that.
'cause don't, you know,
Right.
if you don't have to.
It's outdated, right?
All right, anything we need to cover there? Everybody up to speed or where they need to be or know
I think I'd have
where
to
they
do
need to
another
be?
one. We did a few of them, but I don't think I have
Okay.
enough hours. One more.
Is there a test? I don't think there's a test, right?
Do we hand this in? I wonder who gets this.
All right. Anything else to cover on regarding the training? I think we are
Does
where we
anyone
are.
happen to know if, I didn't see it on the one that I had started, but if these also would count as, AICP certification maintenance credits? I don't know if anyone else here is.
I don't know if it
AICP.
pertains to
Yeah,
anybody else,
the, whatever, it's the Institute of Certified Planners, but we have to do continuing education to
Mhm.
like keep our maintenance and, Maybe that's,
Yeah, it'd be interesting if that's
I'll
a
try to
time.
figure that
I would
out.
think it
Yeah.
would.
It would be
Yeah.
helpful if it were, 'cause I
Yeah, it
need
would
to,
definitely
to
double,
dock some
double there,
hours.
yeah, exactly.
Well, I'll let you all know if I figure
Yeah.
that out, yeah. You can self-report a certain number of them, but, maybe some of them have.
All right, if we're good there, we'll move on to the correspondence, review of the minutes of other commissions. I'm hoping, I made a couple points on this, just look, I mean, we can bring up anything we think that we should bring up, but mostly focusing on things that may pertain directly to the planning commission. One that on the Board of Selectmen, of course, is the thing that we just voted on with the steep grant that is in there. I didn't see anything else on the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from December 4. Does anybody want to bring anything up? If not, the zoning commission had a regular meeting on December 14th. I think they only had one last month because of the holiday. They got some new members, and the one thing they did do is we had our hearing and discussion regarding the 854 Federal Road, and they continued their public hearing on that. If you may recall, for those who were part of that, that's the one that we had their discussion mostly on 4 stories versus 3 stories and 2 stories. So that's still an open matter. It's pressing forward with the zoning commission. Anybody want to discuss anything further on that, or anything else related to the zoning commission meeting?
Did we come to any determination about that? The height of the buildings, 3 or 4 stories at,
4-story they're looking to do, that's all.
Yeah,
And
that's-
they're looking to move the building back at least 300 feet. This way it's not on top of the road and it's more secluded because of the one across the street. You know, it's right on top of the road, so if they could, they're,
Just thinking.
public hearing's closed, so I don't know what'll happen next Thursday.
Right.
They have 65 days to.
I was wondering if, with the town regulations and everything like that, do we just get, they skirt around that, or?
Oh,
Well, they're asking for a waiver on
They're
that.
asking for a waiver or
Yeah.
a regulation change.
That's what we commented
Yeah.
on.
That's right.
And now it goes to them.
That's all it is a regulation change. There's no application in front of them to do the building yet. This is just the
Right.
first step.
Anything else on the zoning? If not, we can go to Economic Development Commission. They met on December 19th. One thing I noted, it mentioned that Mr. Dombrowski and Director of Land Use were planning to start a major rewrite of POCD. I found that interesting. I hope they let us know how it goes, right? Yeah. So, that was the only, there was a mention about Candlewood Lake Elementary School's tour, which I did get a chance to do. I hadn't been there before. It's a pretty impressive building. My son was disappointed to see what the demise of Huckleberry. Anything else? Anybody want to bring anything up related to those minutes? If not, we can, no? If not, we can move forward to, we have informal discussion. Does anybody want to bring anything up related to informal discussion?
I don't know if this is part of the informal, I spoke to you about that before. I was thinking about something to memorialize John Heiss, maybe, plant a tree around over here in, near Town Hall, or something like that. I don't know how that happens, or how do you start that, or you don't really need, just need an approval of the town to plant the tree, right?
Yeah,
I would think,
yeah.
yeah.
30
It's
years,
not
the
gonna be
least they
that
can do
much
is give
money
you a
to do
tree,
it.
right?
We're gonna plaque or something, and, you know,
Absolutely, no.
Mhm.
and
Absolutely.
use something to kind of like memorialize them and have, you know,
Mhm.
No,
item.
no, I agree.
Do we have an idea what the process would be to do something like that, or maybe that's something we can bring up, if we don't know it, we bring it up next meeting?
I don't know, that's a
The
good
Parks,
question.
Parks
Yeah.
Department have to maybe, oh, you can't
Mhm.
put it here, it's gotta be here, or,
Yeah, yeah, I can check and, get back to you, absolutely.
Mhm.
I thought it was a
think-
minor thing,
yeah,
but I
no,
thought it was just something,
absolutely.
you know,
Yeah, something,
remembrance.
the guy gave a half his life here, you know,
Yeah.
that's absolutely,
Yeah.
he deserves that, at least,
Mhm.
totally.
Yeah, I think that's a great thought. Thank you for bringing that up.
I'll definitely look into that tomorrow.
I think does anybody else have anything they want to bring up for informal discussion? Because I have one other that I'll bring up, just to kind of plant a seed, is, it was brought up when we read the EDC minutes, but our big project upcoming is this plan of conservation and development. And so, I'm hoping that we can start to kind of get the process moving forward the next meeting, and at least start to develop. We're not gonna have the answers, because there's gonna be a lot of talk about the content, but at least the process. How do we get from where we are today to where we need to be by a certain deadline to have this document done? So, if you maybe do some, read up on it or so forth, hoping that, next meeting, that should be on our agenda, just to start the discussions on how to attack this project before us. Okay, and some thoughts you may have. All right, and I think we'll do some homework beforehand so that we have some things to go over. All right, is anybody, and, well, we have a couple of different interesting perspectives. Courtney, you've done some of these things before. Linda, you were here before, so
I was.
you can actually tell
My
us
name's on the last
what
one.
worked and what didn't
I
work the
know.
last time,
Yeah.
so, but, I mean, yeah, we'll be looking for input from everybody at some point, so, all right?
Will there be a budget for community engagement related to the update of this plan, do you know, or, I mean, even if without a budget, I guess that is the assumption that we're gonna be getting out there? engaging
I
people around
think
these
there's the kinds of
questions?
things that we
Yeah.
can start to discuss,
Okay.
what do we need, what do we want, how are we gonna do this, right? I think that's, that's what we wanna kinda do to try to get the ball rolling here, yeah. What do we need, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
What is that, every 5 years we have to do that?
10 years.
10 years?
Ten.
And
Yeah,
then it was
10
deferred
years.
for different
Right,
reasons
And-
over
right.
the course of-
And it
Right.
is, it does say, as we're looking at some of the regs, I mean, it is something that the planning commission, needs to do.
Involved in
Yeah,
with-
this is our thing, right? This is something we have to do. Obviously with the help of many others, but, this is something we have to make sure that moves forward and is
Yes,
completed.
is it economic development, Greg Dombrowski comes up with the plan first, and is that how it went last time?
I don't know. I don't see that. He's,
no.
In conjunction with everybody, the planning commission?
He's been doing a lot of stuff like that for us, though,
yeah.
so.
And you probably remember, but the commission had invited other commissions to come in and
Right.
participate, and
Yep.
Right,
the
and no one showed
response
up.
was
Oh, no
Yeah.
one showed up, really?
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we
Okay.
sent letters out, notes out to
Interesting.
We had a
everybody.
wonderful land use
Yep.
manager at the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And perhaps Laura's just as good, my vibe is she is,
Mhm.
Catherine Daniels, and she would hold charrettes, what do they call charrettes?
Right.
Charrettes, yeah.
Yes, within the town, I don't know budgetarily
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
Yeah.
that amounted to get.
But there
it
was
together.
some activity.
There was
and-
Right.
definitely,
Yeah.
she
So
was-
everybody had
she
input.
pretty much
Mhm. Right.
would go and share that
Yeah.
work. Prior to that, we had a professional company called Planometrics.
Mhm.
Right,
Remember that?
yes.
It's going way back, but they had a boilerplate kind of model that they went to
Mhm.
each town and kind of.
What do you want, what do you
customized
wanna
it.
see happen?
Yeah, that came at a pretty penny. though,
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just my.
And what a lot was put together, and looking at it in more detail in 2015, a lot referred to a lot of work that was done in 2012, I believe, mostly directly tied to the town center, right?
Right,
Because there was a lot
Right,
of work
because
that
it
was done
wasn't,
there.
that
and
was
then-
just like a dream at that point. It wasn't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
Like a what?
Well, I think
There it
even
is.
Right.
the original plans for the town center, right, I had some of the original plans and
Mhm.
drawings. They were supposed to be, like 2-story townhouses with,
Yeah.
movie theater and a
Fitzgerald
couple of
Halliday
things or
study,
anything
had
like
the
that.
study done, yeah.
I said, oh, that looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah, that was just.
that went by the wayside.
So, yeah, I just want to kind of, like I said, plant that seed, and again, not the content of what's going to be in there, 'cause-
Right.
but how are we going to do this? What's our process? All right, so, yeah, just give us some thought. And anybody else have anything else they want to bring up for informal discussion? Well, it's a tradition, I believe. You're
I
on.
know, really, how long, I know.
Last meeting.
I know, really. Make motion to adjourn?
Second?
There we go.
Second,
John and
all
I
right.
were
Ayes?
spot on tonight.
Ayes, very good. Thank you, everybody.
Nice to meet you.